All right. Thank you for joining me today, wherever you may be joining me from. My name is Amelia Thomas. I am going to be your host today, and welcome to the Emergency Wealth Defense Masterclass. The Emergency Wealth Defense Masterclass. If you're watching this right now on live stream, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, maybe even on my personal pages, make sure that you leave a comment, say hello. I would love to hear from you. But otherwise, if you are new, maybe you saw an ad, or maybe you're just someone shared this stream and you're watching for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you're watching on Zoom, double welcome to you. So great to have you. You are in for a treat. There is so much happening right now. In our economy that we decided a few weeks ago that we weren't just going to go live weekly, that we were going to go live daily to discuss what is happening. And if you are a business owner, earning over $500,000, if you have a net worth of $1 million or more, or if you are a serious real estate professional, this master class is for you. We wanted to make this totally free because when I worked in corporate America, what many people don't know is that I got really disgruntled. I got disgruntled that there was information for some and not for all. And when we started our firm, about 9 years ago now, one of the things that I wanted to focus on was making sure that everyone had equal access to information. I wanted to unlock all of the information that is being kept to keep people from reaching their highest desires when it comes to building wealth and leaving a legacy for their family. And we're going to get into that, okay? We're going to get into that in just a moment. But before we do, I must read a disclaimer to you. The information provided is for educational purposes only. It is not intended as financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Viewers should not act on the basis of any content without seeking the appropriate advice from a licensed professional. This segment does not create a client-advisor relationship. Please consult with your own financial, tax, or legal advisor for advice tailored to your individual circumstances. Now, if you're watching this on replay, guess what? You're not eligible for the bonuses. So make sure you go to attendthemasterclass.com, attendthemasterclass.com. Make sure that you get registered so we can send you these bonuses for attending, for giving me a little bit of your time today. But allow me to tell you what those bonuses are. We spent a great deal of time curating these bonuses. The first bonus is the Secrets of the 1% Resource Guide. Again, I want to make sure that we're not gatekeeping information that is keeping you from reaching the next level in your wealth and legacy goals. It also includes the accredited investor checklist. If you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I really prefer that every American work to become an accredited investor. And if you do not know what an accredited investor is, you will know by the time you leave this masterclass today. The third resource is actually a private accredited investor training. It can only be accessed from the school platform, but we give you those details as well when you register. So again, if you're watching on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube right now, you're watching not on Zoom, like you're not on Zoom. So you're not eligible. So make sure you register at attendthemasterclass.com, get registered, and we can deliver these bonuses to you. Now, I promise not to waste your time. I am a busy professional. I am pretty much running two full-time businesses. I am responsible for a lot of households in this country, making sure that we take care of their wealth, especially in times like this. So I'm not going to waste your time because I would not want someone to waste my time. But here's what I can promise you. What I also can promise you is that at the end of this presentation, if you watch it fully, you will know the steps to add a zero to your net worth. If you're interested in adding a zero to your net worth, type zero down in the comments for me. No matter if you're watching this on Zoom, Instagram, Facebook, type zero down in the comments if you are interested in adding a zero to your net worth. I want to see those comments because I want to know who's watching and if you're serious about making the best out of our situation. I'm going to show you how to add a zero to your net worth. And if you're watching and you're like, hey, this is all great information, but there's not anything that I can do with it right now, make sure you are sharing this live stream with someone who can use this information, someone who is a business owner, someone who is a real estate investor. Make sure you share this stream with them. You're also going to have questions. When you have questions, and if you're watching on Zoom, I see those questions. I can also interact with you live with those questions, which is another reason why you should be registering at attendthemasterclass.com so I can see the questions because you're watching on Zoom. But if you're not watching on Zoom and you're watching on one of the social media platforms, that's okay too. It's just that I can't see your questions right now. Because I can't see those questions, make sure you leave those questions. My team does collect those questions throughout the week, and I actually answer those questions in our community, or I address them via email, which is another reason why you need to be on the list. Secondly, if you're in our school community, we just created a thread where individuals who are participating in this masterclass, again, the community is free. You can go to that school community, you can go to that thread, you can ask your questions there, and I can also interact with you there. So again, a few reasons why it's important to make sure that you register so you can get the appropriate access. Now, you may be wondering, why now? Why now, Amelia? Well, guess what? I've been preaching this stuff for years, right? I'm over a 20-year veteran in the wealth management space. And, you know, things have changed. And they most certainly have changed since January 20th of this year. And they are changing rapidly as the days progress. So far, in our current presidential administration, we have not even hit the 90-day mark, but we have seen billions of dollars wiped away from the market. And guess what? That means that's money out of your pocket. That's money out of your mom and dad, your sisters, your pensions, schools, local governments. That's money gone. That's money that cannot be recovered. And the reason why this is called a wealth defense masterclass is because we are not prepared for what's happening right now, and we certainly are not prepared for what's to come. So we need to be on the defense. We need to act like a football team, and we need to be on defense. And we need to be guarding our position. And if you're a real estate investor, a serious real estate investor, a business owner, it is even more imperative that you are guarding your position. And when you properly guard your position, no matter who is in office, you can play defense when you need to, and then you can play offense when you need to. But right now, the vast majority of Americans are playing defense, or should be playing defense, and they aren't. And this is what this masterclass is all about today, teaching you how to play on the defense for business owners and real estate investors. Teaching you how to play. You do not have any time to delay. You don't have any time to waste. This is a right now, I must take action moment. A right now, I must take action moment. So before we get into how you can take action and what you need to know, allow me to tell you a little bit more about myself. Again, my name is Amelia Thomas. I am the managing partner of Empire Capital Ventures. Empire Capital Ventures is a wealth management firm dedicated to helping 7- and 8-figure business owners generate 9 figures in wealth through advanced tax planning and wealth management. I'm also the founder of The Secrets of the 1%. The Secrets of the 1% is a education and training consulting firm dedicated to helping everyday Americans, especially those who are business owners and real estate investors from marginalized communities, not only learn, but implement and achieve the wealth secrets of the 1%. I have a bachelor's in finance from Alabama State University, go Hornets, a master's in financial planning from Kansas State University, and at the height of my corporate career, before I left 9 years ago, I had 12 licenses. And those licenses gave me the ability to do a number of things. They gave me the ability to not only sell stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. But they also gave me the ability to be in supervisory roles. So I supervise other wealth professionals, other wealth supervisors, making sure that the recommendations and the policy that they were setting forth was good policy for the company, and also kept us out of trouble with FINRA and the SEC. In addition, I also have the ability to sit on teams that are working with private equity as well as pre-IPO deals. So, my experience is vast. For the last 9 years, we've been working very heavily with everyday Americans, again, who just have not found the right money team, right, to help them pull everything together to make sure that they can achieve, again, the secrets of the 1%. Now, my team is all over the country. We have 16 team members. So, again, we're not new to this. We're true to this. We have quite a few team members. Our team members pretty much have all of the alphabets behind their names. Okay. We got CPAs, we got CFPs, we got EAs, we got PMPs, we got wealth managers, we got our admin team. So there are quite a few people that are working behind the scenes that support me every single day to make sure that we are able to deliver for our clients. And 91% of our clients are US based. 9% of our clients are clients that are either international, non US citizens, or they either own significant real estate holdings outside the US, or they have significant business interests outside of the US. Now, these are just a few of the ladies who help me every single day to make sure that things run smoothly in our company. So if you see these ladies down in the chat, make sure you say hello, how you doing? Give them a shout out, because again, they're working really, really hard to support me and to support all of our clients out there. Now, before I move to this next slide, I want to tell you that I spent a great bit of time curating what you're going to see next. And this information that you're going to see next is so important, because I think, particularly as we live and exist in this moment in time, that you have forgotten your rights. I think you have forgotten your rights as an American. And I'm here to tell you exactly what those rights are. And those rights begin with having access to the right financial information. You have the right to access clear, actionable, and advanced financial knowledge that empowers you to make informed decisions for your wealth journey. You have the right to build generational wealth. You have the right to create, grow, and preserve wealth for you and your family and future generations, breaking the cycle of financial scarcity. You have the right to minimize taxes legally. You have the right to leverage every legal tax strategy available to you, ensuring your hard-earned income stays in your hands to fund your legacy. You have the right to become an accredited investor. This is the land of the free. Regardless of what people try to tell you, you have the right to become an accredited investor. You have the right to unlock exclusive opportunities in private equity, pre-IPO deals, alternative investments, leveling the playing field with the wealthy elite. You have the right to financial self-sufficiency. You have the right to control your financial destiny without relying on employers, governments, or systems that are designed to limit your potential. You have the right to asset protection. You have the right to safeguard your assets from unnecessary risks, liabilities, and legal threats through strategic planning. You have the right to reinvest in yourself. You have the right to prioritize personal growth, education, and investment in your business or career to ensure continued financial success. You have the right to access capital. You have the right to use your wealth and assets as leverage to secure capital for business growth, real estate investments, and other ventures. You have the right to advance wealth strategies. You have the right to utilize the same wealth building frameworks, tools, and strategies as the top 1%, regardless of your starting point. You have the right to financial wellness. You have the right to live a life free from stress, supported by thoughtful planning, balanced risk taking, and intentional abundance. These are your rights as Americans. And just in case you forgot, I will be here every single day to remind you what those rights are, regardless of what is happening in the markets, regardless of what is happening in our economy, regardless of what is happening politically. These are your rights, and we need to stand up for them when we need to defend these rights. If you are interested in defending your rights as an American, put defend my rights in the comments. I want to see it because these are your rights, regardless of what someone attempts to take from you. We need to reclaim that American dream. It is not dead. We need to get on the defense and defend our positions. So let's talk about how we're going to defend our positions as real estate investors and business owners who are building wealth in America. And that looks like this four-leg framework for economic resiliency, regardless of who is in office. Like I said at the beginning of this call today, of this masterclass today, right now we need to be on the defense because we're not ready. We haven't been ready. The vast majority of the individuals who are watching this live stream right now or watching this masterclass right now are not in position. So we need to be in position. We need to get there, and we need to get there quickly. And therefore, when the tide does turn, because we do have to defend our rights in other areas too. And when we properly defend those rights and we have the proper representation representing us again, then you can go back and play on the offense. But until then, you are a defensive player. So what exactly does that look like? That starts with our four-legged framework. Notice that there is a table here. And this table has four legs. Isn't a table with four legs typically very stable? Yes, it is. It is typically a very stable piece of furniture. But this table represents the operations of your businesses. And when you are missing one of these legs, the operations of your business is not very stable. So let's discuss what these legs are. The first leg is going to be leverage. Second leg, expansion. The third leg, government incentives. And the fourth leg is structure. So let's discuss what these legs mean. Leverage means how to maximize your resources and position yourself as an accredited investor. Expansion, the power of partnerships, joint ventures, and alliances for exponential growth. I grew my wealth management firm to a seven-figure firm through the expansion leg. When you think about all of your greats, and when I say greats, I don't necessarily mean greats as in they were just awesome people, but greats in terms of building and controlling wealth in this country. The Rockefellers, the Carnegies, those people, they did it through partnerships. The individuals who are thriving right now, the business owners, real estate investors that are really thriving, they got there through partnerships. Government incentives. How aligning with the government priorities can open doors to take advantage of tax and wealth opportunities. And structure. A critically important piece to optimizing your business and asset structures for tax efficiency and protection. If you have all four of these legs in place, you are now able to continue to empower yourself and those around you. And with intentional acts of implementation, and clarity, you can now operate like the 1%. You can now operate like the 1%. So, what exactly does that look like? When you have leverage, you can become an accredited investor faster. Or if you're already an accredited investor, you can add a zero to your net worth. Assets that you can leverage includes not only your real estate, but your retirement accounts, your brokerage accounts, the equity in your business, the equity in your real estate, even equity in your primary residence. You can leverage these things for wealth building purposes. And debt. Now, let me talk about using debt as leverage for just a moment. If your operations are shoddy, your operations are not together, you need to stay as far away from debt as possible because that is only going to drill you into a further hole. Using debt as leverage means that you have your operations together and you now need to focus on scaling and expansion. You know exactly how you're going to do that. So you're deciding to bring on some debt to help you accomplish that goal. You don't turn to debt because you're not able to make payroll. You don't turn to debt because you're operating at a loss every single month and you don't know why you're operating at a loss. Sometimes operating at a loss is strategic. But for most business owners and most business owners here in America, that is not a strategic move. That means there's something wrong with your operations and you're operating at a loss. And again, debt is the worst thing you could be doing. But if you're in position, you're ready to scale and expand, debt can be your absolute best friend. So, yes, good debt, not bad debt, can be a powerful tool to help you create more leverage so you can expand your operations. Now, I've spoken quite a bit about becoming an accredited investor. Okay. So, why don't we take a few moments and chat about what an accredited investor is? I want you to remember the 1, 2, and the 3 when it comes to being an accredited investor. Now, for some people who are in the industry and they know a lot about this stuff, they may say, well, wait, Amelia, the SEC has expanded the definition of what an accredited investor is. That is very true. They have. But in this masterclass, we're only going to focus on the 1, the 2, and the 3. Okay? And there is a reason why we're only focusing on the 1, 2, and the 3. So what is the 1, 2, and the 3? 1, you must have a net worth of $1 million, not including your primary residence. 2, if you are a single individual, you have earned $200,000 a year in income for the past 2 years, and you fully expect to earn that in the 3rd year. 3, you're married. You have a combined household income of $300,000. You've earned that for the past 2 years, and you fully expect to earn that in your 3rd year. If you fall in 1, 2, or the 3rd category, you very well could be an accredited investor. Now, why do I not take into consideration these other definitions? Because when clients come to us to sign off on their paperwork to state that they meet the definitions of being an accredited investor, wherever they're trying to invest money, they don't care anything about their education. They don't care anything about their experiences. They don't care anything about their licenses. They're not asking for those things. They are asking, do this person meet the net worth requirements? Does this person meet the income requirements? And if they don't, they're not going to allow you into their offering. These are rules that just have not been widely adopted just yet. Okay, they have not been widely adopted just yet. And so because they haven't been widely adopted, again, I don't teach on them. I don't train on them. I train on what has been adopted by the financial community, and that is the 1, the 2, and the 3. Everything else, it doesn't matter because they ain't taking that paperwork. They're not allowing you in their deal unless you have the 1, 2, and the 3, or the 3. Okay. Now, according to this study, for those individuals who do meet the accredited investor status, guess what? They have the opportunity to earn almost 3 times as much as the individual who's investing in traditional markets. So, this is another reason why it's so important. And one of the reasons why I drive home why you should be working to become an accredited investor. When you become an accredited investor, you can now get a seat at the table that you couldn't ordinarily get to, or a seat at a table that you couldn't ordinarily get to. You can now hear and learn about deals that just weren't really available before. So, becoming an accredited investor can significantly help you increase your net worth. And again, every single person who's watching this masterclass, this needs to be one of your goals. And if you're watching this masterclass and you're already an accredited investor, your next goal should be to add a 0 to your net worth. A 0 to your net worth. What about step 2? Expand through partnerships. Wealth grows faster when it's shared. Partnerships allow you to access resources, networks, and expertise that you wouldn't have alone. So, what does that look like in terms of expansion? You have strategic alliances. You're able to pool resources with other individuals. Maybe there's a contract that you want to bid for. And it doesn't have to be a federal contract. It could be a local government contract. It could be a contract with a corporation. You're reading the RFP or the RFQ, and you're like, man, I meet all of these definitions except for this one thing. I don't have this one piece of the puzzle. That does not mean you should not bid on that opportunity. What it does mean is that you need to get out here and find the person or the business that has that one piece that you're missing. You guys come together and bid together. Or you contract with that one person to deliver that service for you, and then you go and bid on your own. That is what a strategic alliance is. Some kind of resource. It could be a person. Maybe this other business has some type of talent that has been preventing you from moving forward in your business. And you can go and offer some type of alliance to now tap into that talent. That is what it means to have strategic alliances. What about joint ventures? Where you're collaborating on specific projects and you're sharing in the risk and you're sharing in the rewards. That is exactly how we got to 7 figures in our wealth management firm, through JVs, joint ventures. It's a type of partnership. And we're looking to, hammer down on that even more in 2025, especially given what is happening right now in our economy. Because we don't want our clients to just survive what is happening. We want them to thrive, regardless of what is happening, regardless of who is in office. But we gotta get this piece together if that is going to happen. We must get it together if that is going to happen. And then you actually have investor partnerships where someone is bringing capital to the table. And they could be an active partner, but they can also be a passive partner. They could also be a silent partner. They don't say anything at all. They're just bringing money to the table for shared equity. And these are just the top 3, but there are many others. So I want you to, again, if you registered at attendthemasterclass.com, you'll get access to like the school community and things like that. But I want you to come into the school community because we also created a thread, again, just for this masterclass. And I want you to tell me, what kind of partnerships do you have already? Or what type of partnerships are you looking to build? To make sure that regardless, again, of who is in office, you can get to the next level. So when we think about these partnerships, We know that businesses who use strategic partnerships grow 30% faster than businesses who operate solo. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but there's a term that says, and I'm going to butcher it. I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to butcher it. But there is a term that basically states um, if you have a business, if you own 100% of a business that's only profiting $100,000, or would you rather own 50% of a business that's profiting $2 million? Again, still majority owner, but you're making a whole lot more money and you have less stress and less risk on your plate versus the person who has 100% ownership. So again, think about these things right now about how to leverage what you have and build on it to something that is more sustainable, to something that is more sustainable. Let's let's move on because we're running out of time. Step 3, government incentivized investing. Now, I know many of you were probably thinking, oh, the G means government contracts. It does not. It does not mean government contracts. In fact, individuals who have relied solely on government contracts are in a terrible world of trouble right now. Even those individuals who are relying on government contracts through other municipal entities are in a world of trouble right now. So if the people you're doing business with is in business with the federal government, they're in trouble. So you need to be figuring out how to divest your income sources from money coming from the government at this very moment. But that is not what I'm talking about here. What I am talking about is government incentivized investing, because guess what? The government does not want to be in the business of doing certain things. And when they don't want to be in the business of doing certain things, guess what? They create incentives through the tax code to convince everyday Americans like you and I to go out and use our private dollars to support in their efforts. This, ladies and gentlemen, is also a form of a partnership. It is a form of a partnership because they influence legislation through the tax code. Now, in 2018, we saw a very large tax reconciliation bill that was passed and that was signed into law under President Trump during that time that created a massive deficit. We didn't know how we were going to pay for it. And we've been trying to climb out of that deficit ever since. And the bill right now that is being floated in Congress is said to be 7 to 8 times larger than the bill from 2018. But they know they got to have a way to pay for it. And right now, that bill is designed to help the billionaires so they can hoard more and more wealth. And if you haven't heard me speak before, but I am against greedy capitalism. I believe in capitalism as a function of society, but I am very much against greedy capitalism, especially at the expense of everyday people, especially at the expense of everyday people. But right now, that bill is designed for anyone who earns over $600,000 a year to save massive amounts of money in taxation, and for anyone who earns less than $600,000 a year to pay more. I saw a statistic, and I'm probably going to get it wrong. I need to write it down so I can actually speak more intelligently on it. But it basically said that, a family earning less than maybe 130 or 140 is going to pay an additional $3,600 a year in taxes. People who earn over 600,000 will save at least $40,000 a year in taxes. And that is before we get over here to these government incentives that helps these individuals pay nothing in taxes. And because I'm against greedy capitalism, I want all of our clients, and I want every single person who follows me, every single person who believes in the American dream and who wants to strive to be in that top 1%. I want every single one of you to learn how the game is played, because that is what we do at our firm. Majority of our clients earn well over $600,000 a year. And after a while, they won't be paying any taxes. And every single year, we're working harder and harder and harder to get their tax rate down. But we do that by partnering with the government and making sure that we're able to take advantage of these government incentives. So what are some of these government incentives, you may be wondering? First one is going to be opportunity zones. I'm a huge fan of it. Huge fan of opportunity zones. But unfortunately, most disadvantaged and marginalized communities were not really able to take advantage of opportunity zones. But I'm going to tell you why that is so problematic in just a moment. Of course, you have renewable energy. The government does not want to be in the space of creating energy sources. They don't. They don't want to be in the space of creating energy sources. And because of that, they're going to incentivize people like you and I to invest to create these energy sources. And affordable housing, Lord have mercy. At some point, some administration, I don't know who, is going to have to seriously take the affordable housing crisis, in this country seriously. And it's not that I don't think they've been taking it seriously, but they got to put some action behind these words. Right now, we are 4 million homes short in this country. And that has nothing to do with affordable housing. It literally means we don't have enough housing. And if you know anything about supply and demand, when you don't have enough of something, the demand is higher. And therefore, prices are higher. Therefore, we haven't even gotten to the conversation about the affordable housing. How people who are working full-time jobs do not make enough for even a one-bedroom apartment. Not a decent one. So at some point, there's going to be a massive wave of legislation and policy created to tackle the affordable housing crisis. And you need to be in position to partner with the government if you're in real estate to make sure you can get the piece of the pie that you deserve. So let's chat briefly about the opportunity zones and why that legislation is just so important. Why that legislation is so important. You have these opportunity zones, and Mark has invested $250,000 in an opportunity zone. He was able to defer $70,000 in capital gains. Now, the $70,000 in capital gains that he deferred, guess what? Those capital gains, he does not have to pay taxes on that money until tax year 2027. But if he operates like I do with our clients, when it's time to pay taxes on that money, there won't be anything to pay taxes on because we would have found a way to get out of that by then. We would have found a way to not pay taxes on that money by tax year 2027. So that's one benefit. But the larger benefit that people just are not aware of is that any money that's invested in capital gains or any money that's invested in opportunity zones, if that money stays invested for a 10-year period, you're meeting the compliance requirements. When you sell that investment at the end of a 10-year period, you get to walk away tax-free. Now, why is that so interesting? That is interesting because since 2018, $75 billion has been invested into opportunity zone legislation. We have clients who invest into opportunity zones. I want even more that want to invest in opportunity zones. Um, so $75 billion. And as of right now, this $75 billion should be taxable in the year 2027. But we know in this budget reconciliation bill that's in the House, in the Senate right now, that's being worked on, or that's in Congress right now, that's being worked on, we know that they want to expand these benefits and give more tax cuts to the wealthy. We know this. So there is a good chance that this legislation could be extended. There is a great chance that not only will this legislation be extended, but additional benefits will be added. But even if that does not happen, let's say the legislation stays as is, and we have 75 billion with the B dollars that have been invested in opportunity zones through capital gains. You had to have capital gains, whether it was long term or short term, to get into that position. And that was the biggest problem with this legislation. It wasn't a problem for the people who got the money, it was a problem for people who don't. Because retirement accounts don't create capital gains, retirement accounts create ordinary income. Capital gains is created through the sale of an asset. That's how capital gains are created. But in this case, do you think these private equity companies, do you think these other rich billionaires that are investing in opportunity zones, you think they don't want a return on their investment? They absolutely do. They absolutely want a return on their investment. And I would not be shocked at all if in a 10-year time frame, so we're coming up on this, next 5-6 years where people will start divesting from these opportunity zones. I would not be surprised if that $75 billion that people already didn't pay taxes on and probably won't pay taxes on doesn't turn into 5-6 trillion with a T dollars in value, and they will then be able to sell and walk away tax free. They will then be able to sell and walk away tax free. You see this map? This map with all of this pink, those are all opportunity zones where people can invest in any of these areas to take advantage of this legislation. And guess what? When you hear about a private equity company putting $100 million in the middle of Montana, where the closest city is 100 miles away, that is why. That is why. That is why. When you think about all of the AI companies that are popping up, you can bet your bottom dollar those companies are located in opportunity zone areas, or they have central operations in opportunity zone areas. You can bet your bottom dollar. So when I tell you government incentivized investing is a must leg, you must have on that table, it is a must. It is a must. Step 4. How do you structure things strategically? This is a foundational step. If you have a net worth over $1 million, you got several rental properties, you got a business that's growing, that's thriving, your revenue exceeds over $500,000. If you do not have your structure in order, you are missing a leg on your table. Structure means I got a combination of things. I got some LLCs, I got some C corps, I got some S corps, I may have some partnerships. I may have some disregarded entities. I got a lot of stuff going on, moving in all different directions. But it must make sense. I'm able to protect what I have already built. My structure has holding companies that actually function and operate as holding companies. I see a lot of things on social media about, oh, start this LLC and do this and do that, and then you'll have a holding company. Guys, sometimes when clients come to us and we're looking at the structure, I ask them, why do you think this is a holding company? And they're like, oh, because it owns this and it owns this. And, I got my car here and I got the house here and all these other things. It's not a holding company. A holding company should be able to help you reduce your risk, not add to it. It should be able to hold you up in the event of litigation. It should be able to hold you up. If that holding company has significant liabilities in it, it is not a holding company. It's just another operating company. So make sure that your structure is doing what it needs to do to protect you. And if it's doing what it needs to do to protect you, it's going to make your asset protection planning even easier. So you got to get the foundation in place. The foundation is going to be, your initial structure, all of your entities. And at the top, it's you and your trust. And then you have everything else in between. You have very little attached to your name outside of that trust. But while we're on the conversation of trust, please be careful. Please be careful. I see so many people having conversations saying, oh, just get an irrevocable trust and put all your assets in that irrevocable trust. So let me give you another disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. However, every structure that we build, it goes through an attorney for implementation. And you would be surprised at the number of people who just take advice from social media and don't seek qualified advice. And they go and they put all of their assets into an irrevocable trust. An irrevocable trust is named irrevocable for a reason. It cannot easily be undone, if it can be undone. In addition, it is not the same as a grantor trust, like a revocable trust is, where your assets will ultimately pass through and end up on your personal tax return. No, irrevocable trusts, they have their own tax rates, and they are significantly condensed. Those tax rates are significantly condensed. And depending on how much money we're talking about, you can significantly overpay in taxes because you don't put everything into the wrong vehicle. Because your attorney did not talk to your tax advisor to get on the same page about things. That's why it is critically important that you have your money team in order. It must be in tip-top shape. You need a quarterback. You got to have somebody that can help guide you in that conversation. If you do not have these four legs, and if you don't have the structure, you do not have a sustainable business. I just spoke about the trust, so we're going to move on from this particular slide. But again, they all work together. They all work together, and having the wrong structure can cost you thousands of dollars annually. Thousands of dollars annually. So the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but a map ensures that you arrive at the right destination. This map represents those legs, leverage. People who can create leverage are able to become accredited investors faster, or if they are already accredited investors, they're able to accelerate their wealth and they're able to earn about 3 times more than the person who could only invest in traditional markets. That is leverage. The E, expansion, partnerships, JVs, strategic alliances. Those individuals are also able to grow their business by 30% more than the individuals who are operating solo. Again, government incentivized incentives. The G, invest where the government is throwing money at. They got to incentivize you to do it. Otherwise, why would you do it? That is free money. Invest where they tell you to invest. And of course, the structure. You got to get the foundation in place. You got to make sure you have the right entities. You got to make sure you got the right number of entities. When you have that in place, you can then focus on the asset protection. When your asset protection is in place, now you can focus on the estate planning and bring it all together. This is your map. This is your map. So when we bring it all together and we think again about that table, you must have all 4 legs. You must have all 4 legs. You cannot begin to reach the top levels of the 1% without all 4 legs. What happens if your table is missing 1 leg? Could it stand on its own? Yeah, it could probably still stand. Is it stable? No, it's not. You're missing 2 legs? Could it still stand? Yes. You got to reposition those legs, though. It's going to be very wobbly. It takes not much risk or liability to happen to make it fall over, but it can probably still stand. You don't have 3 of these legs, you're in deep trouble. You don't have any of these legs, you need to be focusing on the first leg, and that leg for you is probably going to be expansion. If you don't have any of these legs, the first leg is going to be expansion, partnerships. You got to find a way to generate more revenue and become more profitable as quickly as possible so you can now focus on these other legs. D's, this is the 4-legged framework for economic resiliency, regardless of who is in office. With that being said, are you going to be the next person to conquer your finances? If so, tell me in the comments. Yes, I'm ready to conquer my finances. Tell me more, Amelia. I'm ready to conquer my finances. And if you are, I invite you to participate and sign up for our Wealth Up and Taxes Down workshop. What does the Wealth Up and Taxes Down workshop mean to you? Number one, I am guaranteeing, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm guaranteeing that you're going to save at least $3,000 in taxes, or you're going to find at least $3,000 in value. And if not, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to refund you, no questions asked. Step 2, you're going to learn how the wealthy get away with not paying nothing in taxes. You're going to learn how Warren Buffett is able to say, I pay less in taxes than my secretary. You're going to learn how that's possible and how you get there as well. If I did not say this earlier in the masterclass, The one thing I want you to remember is that, yes, if you have the right people in office, they can do some very dangerous things like the things that's happening right now, where they are going to pass a budget reconciliation bill that is going to be devastating, that is going to shift even more wealth to the top 1%. But guess what? Because that is actually written in stone, they can't say, oh, no, you're not eligible for that. They can't say that. So that means you got to be in position to take advantage of whatever legislation comes out. Step 3, you got to get ahead of these tax code changes before they're actually implemented, and certainly before April 15th of next year. You got to get ahead. You got to start getting things in order. And in order to do that, you must start working on that now. Again, going back to that conversation, why now? This is why. That legislation is going to be massive, much more massive than it was in 2018. And we are still dealing with the changes of that legislation. 6, 7 years later. So you cannot afford to delay. Number 4, and most importantly, I want you to stop relying on the government. And I want you to take control of your wealth. It is not designed for the everyday person to build wealth. It's not. In fact, a lot of the legislation, a lot of the policies right now is designed to take more money out of your pockets. But we're not going to allow that to happen because, again, you got rights. And I need you to step into your full authority as an American and understand what those rights are and defend your position. You must defend your position. You cannot continue to rely on the government to save you. You can only save yourself. And it doesn't matter who is in office. This message still applies. This message still applies. Now, this particular workshop, the Wealth Up, Taxes Down workshop, is not for you. If you're like, hey, I don't have any of the legs on that table, this workshop is not for you. Okay? It's not for you. If you're like, hey, I don't have any of the legs on the table, I don't know where my next meal is going to come from, this workshop is not for you. This workshop is also not for you if you're looking for an immediate done-for-you solution. If you're looking for an immediate done-for-you solution, this is not for you. You should just reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out how we can work together. But this conversation is for you. This workshop is for you. If you're like, Amelia, I didn't know any of this stuff that you just mentioned today. It's been gatekept from us. And I need to know how to get to the next level. This workshop is how you get to the next level. Because you got to understand how taxes work. 99.9% don't even understand how tax brackets work. And that is a critically important piece of the conversation. You don't understand that up here, your highest form of income is earned income. And there's about 7 different levels of income in between. And that if you want to get down here to tax-free income, you got to work your way through those levels. Most people don't understand that. But if you want to be in that 1% category, that's something you got to learn. You got to learn it. So what is included in the Wealth Up, Taxes Down workshop? It's a 4-hour training. It's actually from 11 to 5. So that's actually 5 hours, but we have time for breaks built in. But it's going to be 4 hours of dedicated, focus, and intentional learning. It has the guarantee, the 100% guarantee, or your money back. And the retail value is $3,997. Of course, you won't pay anything close to that today. You won't pay anything close to that. It includes the Secrets of the 1% Financial Key Data Guide. Again, 99.9% of Americans have no idea how tax rates work, and you must have a good understanding of how those rates work if you want to really play the game. You're going to get replay access. That replay access will last for 1 year. Now, the reason why we don't do lifetime replay access is because we talk a lot of numbers. We talk a lot of policy. And these things change every year. So I don't want old information floating around. And I don't like the idea of anything being lifetime, because that means it should last beyond my lifetime. I mean, it's just not reasonable. So again, for the next year, you'll have 365 access to it. And then, of course, you'll have access to this privately recorded training to help you master some of these concepts that we don't even have time to help you master in that 4 hours. So there's going to be an additional training for you to soak in and learn to help you implement like the 1%. Now, if all of this did was give you the peace of mind that you are moving in the right direction, would that be worth it to you? If all this did was help you get in position and play defense like you've never played it before, would that be worth it to you? If all this did was help you finally put the last few pieces of your money team together, you know the questions to ask. You know the level of expertise you need your team to have. Would that be worth it to you? Then if so, I encourage you to take advantage of our risk-free offer, again, because it has a guarantee at wealthuptaxesdown.com. Retail value is $3,997. You won't pay anything close to that. Your investment is only $497. You can go ahead and sign up at wealthuptaxesdown.com. wealthuptaxesdown.com. And again, I have a 100% guarantee because I know you're going to be fully satisfied, but for those who are not, I don't believe in accepting people's money when they're not satisfied. So, for those who are not, if you don't see a way to save that amount of money in taxes, the $3,000 in taxes, you don't see that value, you're not able to like really implement this framework, send my team a message, let us know, and we're going to refund you your money. We're going to refund you your money. But for those who are able to implement what is being laid down and taught, this framework alone will save you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, as it has done our current clients. We represent about 79 households in this country, and we have saved them over $40 million. Over 40. And those same clients also have about 86 million invested in real estate, not including their other assets, not including their businesses, real estate alone. And we take those savings that we help them save in taxes, and they go and buy more property, or they go and they reinvest it back into their companies. Again, you can take advantage of this deal at www.wealthuptaxesdown.com. $497 comes with a complete 100% guarantee, and the path to success is to take massive, determined action. What type of action? Massive, determined action. And if you're not able to take massive, determined action, this workshop is not for you. But if you're ready to move to the next level, you're ready to add that zero to your net worth, you're ready to play defense and get things in order, so when it's time to play offense, you can easily just shift. This workshop is a must-have. You cannot build wealth without understanding how taxation works in this country. You cannot. Why? Because taxes is your largest expense. It is your largest expense. So again, the path to success is to take massive determined action. When do we want you to take that action? We want you to take that action right now at www.wealthuptaxesdown.com, www.wealthuptaxesdown.com. Now, I want to leave you with this. Wealth is not reserved for a select few. It is built through informed decisions and consistent action. I want to help you. I know I said at the beginning that, I'm not your advisor. This doesn't create a client advisor relationship. It doesn't. But I want to help you have a transformative year, especially when it looks like all things are just going down, down, down. I want to help you have that transformative year. So again, if you have questions, put those down into the comments. We'll get those addressed. Make sure if you're watching this on replay, make sure you register at www.attendthemasterclass.com so you can get access to these bonuses. But if you're ready to move the needle and move to the next level, again, you must register for the workshop. And you can do that at www.wealthuptaxesdown.com, www.wealthuptaxesdown.com. Again, thank you so much for having me, for sharing a little bit of your time today. My name is Amelia Thomas. I look forward to seeing you in our school community. I look forward to talking to you in our in the classes and in our various trainings. And I look forward to helping you have an amazing year and set yourself up for great success. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing each one of you soon. And please share your feedback. Thank you so much.